Hi, everyone. I am super excited today to welcome Dr. Tumi. This woman has so much to share, and I cannot wait to go into detail with you. I have so many questions, and Tumi is a medical doctor, right? And a performer. So, welcome.
Thank you, Kiko. It
Welcome
is
to
a
me.
pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, so there was an echo. Yes, sorry. So, Tumi, welcome to my channel.
Kiko, it's an honor and so excited to be here with you.
Oh my God. So, my friend, our friend, Sky from Australia, she said that I need to talk to you. You're an amazing being. Sky from Australia interviewed to me a while back, and you are an amazing magical box that I'm about to unbox a little by little. So you are originally from Nigeria and you have moved to the States, is it? When you were 12,
You got
right?
it.
And now you've got a 6 years old son, and now you're traveling in Vietnam, and our timing matched well because I'm in Japan. Tumi is in Vietnam, and I was before offline. I was showing Tumi. I was just munching on the Vietnamese longan. So delicious. I love this. So good. So you are there for a few weeks, is it?
Few months. We're going to be in Vietnam a total of 2 months, and then we go to Thailand for about almost a month, and then we go back to our home base, which is in the Canary Islands.
Oh, you live in Canary Islands. Wow. So yeah,
Yes.
you are a true fruitalian, making sure going to the warm countries, and you're skipping Japan, right? You can come one day when it's warm.
It's been a dream of mine to visit Japan. And I'm so excited now that we're connecting because I will definitely reach out to you when we come. And yeah, I think Japan, there's so much about Japan that I've been so intrigued by through the years. And we're actually planning to go next year for maybe skiing in Japan.
Wow.
So I'll like,
Fruitarian going skiing. Okay,
I went this year. So
this year okay, let us keep connected so that we can see how if we can meet here. But I want to say, so to me this is the first time I'm connecting with you and interviewing on my YouTube channel, but I don't know much about you, obviously. But one thing I could say is, to me, is a very how do I say, uh I'm trying to think of a word you're very low key person. I mean, you're a bubbly person, but you play it so low. The reason I say it is because you are a physician, right? Medical doctor, and you're raw vegan. But when you
mhm.
go to Tumi's Instagram, it's not that obvious. I mean, you're so humble.
Mm.
I think it's one of the character. Am I wrong or am I correct?
Yeah. I I think that I am a person who, for me, it's really important that, for me personally, everybody's different. I am an introvert, and I'm somebody where I prefer to walk my walk as opposed to talk the talk. I would rather just be the embodiment of what I desire than speaking a lot about it.
That is so beautiful. I get the chill when you said that. That's so beautiful. I mean, when you went through this very hard medical years, right? how many years that you have to go through for that becoming a
Well, you do you have to do training in university to get the requirements to go to medical
Mm.
school. So there's those. And then medical school, at least in America, is 4 years. And then I did an internal medicine residency that's 3 years long. And then after I worked as a doctor in Doctors Without Borders, doing work, relief work in Africa, when I came back, I did an extra fellowship in dermatology. And so my medical training was more than 10 years long, for sure.
That's incredible. And yeah, that's another thing you mentioned about the Doctors Without Borders, with no borders. That I have so much respect for someone who works there, because you are thrown in a place that's very, I mean, there's always a risk. I know someone I used to work with, and she decided to quit the corporate work, and she told me some crazy story. I have volunteered as a equivalent of Peace Corps. Peace Corps, yeah, in the
Yes.
States. So Peace Corps copy version in Japan. I've done that in Costa Rica. My situation was very easy, but some people were thrown in a very remote place. And yeah, this Doctors Without Any Border, that's a whole another level. And as a doctor, that says a lot about your character, right? Because being a doctor, you don't have to go through that hardship.
No, but it was really important to me. Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, Doctors Without Borders, these are all names of the same organization, had done work in Nigeria way before I was born, but they're a group of people that it was started by doctors and journalists coming together who, and this will tie actually into raw
Oh,
veganism, believe it or
interesting.
not, but it was doctors and journalists coming together with this idea of when there is injustice in the world, there's often a lot of times dis-ease there, physical dis-ease. And it's not just about going into places to help the people there, it's about bearing witness. And so journalists would go there to take pictures to say, this has happened to these people. The world needs to look at this and bear witness to the injustice, to the cruelty, to the inhumanity, not just give some medications and go out. And they did that in my origin country, Nigeria, way back during the Civil War. And I always knew about that history. And so when I became a doctor, I was like, I'm going to work for Doctors Without Borders. And I applied, and there is a pretty strong application process. And I was so happy to be selected and to go. And it was a French speaking country in the middle of the desert, and it was taking care of children who were literally starving. And that was very hard for me because I didn't choose to become a pediatrician. And one of the reasons I chose not to become a pediatrician was that when I was in medical school and you go through all the different types of doctors, it's kind of like a buffet sampler to figure out what kind of doctor you want to be. When I did my pediatric rotation, Kiko, I would just sit with the children and just cry. Like there was nothing professional about my response. So I was like, I can't be a pediatrician. And yet with MSF, they needed a French speaking doctor to go to Africa and work with these children. And I said yes. And it was one of the most transformational years of my life because I realized also when you work with children, you're working with your mamas in Africa, probably all over the world. And the way this ties to raw veganism is that that was the project where my eyes were completely opened to the incredible connection between nutrition and your well being, which is crazy to say that as a doctor, I had not made that huge connection in my medical school. And I went to great medical school, to a great residency program. It wasn't talked about. And to see children emaciated, like on death's doors, and simply by supporting their nutrition, Kiko, they would come back with these plump cheeks.
Oh,
It was incredible. And I was living in New York at the time, and I read a little bit of Namado. Is that
Yes, that's
correct?
correct.
And I know you were in New York also. I spent 10 years in New
Me?
York City, and I
Oh
want to
my
say
goodness.
about
Yeah, that's great. Oh my God.
this whole thing of like fruitarian. When I first went raw 15 years ago now, I did it in New York City in the winter. I switched. So we can talk about that whole thing. But when I came back to New York after being in Africa as a doctor for Doctors Without Borders, I looked at my own life. And for the first time, I was like, what am I doing with my nutrition? And at the time, I was over a healthy weight, even though I was already a professional dancer and I was now dancing with a company in New York City. Over an ideal weight for me. I carried it well. I was able to dance well, but it was not ideal. More importantly, severe depression, asthma, eczema. It had all like pretty bad. And I looked at this and I said, why have I never thought about nutrition? I'd been using inhalers and steroid creams, and at some point I was on antidepressants. Never had I thought about looking at what I was eating. And so that began my path into raw veganism.
Who would connect that dot? That's, I have never heard any story like this. You were able to connect that dot, right? Going to Africa, Médecins Sans Frontières, and working there, realizing, because Western doctors, they don't learn about nutrition, right? And you learn offhand with kids in Africa that with the right nutrition, they flourished, right? Who would
Yes.
connect that? It seems obvious for someone like us already, but most people wouldn't notice it.
Absolutely. And that's when I began studying. And then I did the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And then I joined the Integrative Holistic Medical Board. And I realized there was a whole amount of science around this, Kiko. It was all there. But most traditional medical schools are having you focus on other things that take up a lot of all your time. But then I love reading, I love learning. And I just dove into that rabbit hole. And when I looked at the science, it was super clear. It was so clear.
Wow.
So much so that within a year, I think the Woodstock Fruit Festival, the first ever, happened in the summer. By then, I was already experimenting with raw, but then I went there and read the 80-10-10 diet because Doug Graham was there. And I remember reading it within 2 days. I was done. And I was like, oh, like he just put everything I'd been reading, a lot of it was beautifully done in that book and summarized. And that was it for me. I never looked back.
Wow. So you were in the first Woodstock Fruit Festival? Oh my God. I mean, I
Yeah.
have missed that. I was thinking like, should I go? Because
You were there in New York during then,
so I left New York at
2011.
2005. I was raw vegan. I started raw vegan lifestyle in 2004. So I was already back in
Wow.
Japan. I'm thinking, do
Okay.
I go? But anyway, well, we have finally met.
I know. How
Right.
beautiful.
So, I mean, so you are a physician at the same time you're professional dancers. You have
Mhm.
so many things, and you are a wife and a mother of 6 years old. Which, by the way, you gave a birth of your 6 years old son when you were in 40s. Was it an
Yes.
expected pregnancy?
Oh, yes. I was told this is a beautiful story. I was in Thailand at the time when I was 40. I think I just turned 40. And I was with my sweetheart, my husband, and we were just traveling and having fun. And we were told that to go to this lady who was a very good healer, and she did great. I just wanted a good massage, and I went for a massage, and she gave me the unsolicited, unsolicited advice that she said, "I can just feel your aura. You're a very strong mover and dancer, and are you a healer?" And I was like, yeah. And then she said, Kiko, she said, how old are you? And I told her, and her eyes almost bugged out of her head. And she said, you're not wanting children, are you? And I was like, the thing about that was Kiko, it wasn't until that moment that it was so clear to me that yes, I do want a
What?
child. It's something that was like in my, when it's right, it'll be right. I wasn't worried about it. Let's just put it that. I just wasn't. I was living my life. But I think it was very clear in my heart I wanted to be a mama. But when she said, she put in that way, I remember thinking, yeah, I do. And she said, I'm sorry to share with you something. Your womb will never be able to grow a child. It's too late for you. You're going to do some amazing things in your life. You're in your 40s. Let it go.
What?
And I know.
It's just crazy. You are just getting a massage, right?
Thank you. I was like, I just wanted a massage. What are we doing here? I know. That's kind of the worst part of it is because it blindsided me. And thankfully, my sweetheart was close by, and he said to me, he said, I'm not with you for you to have a child. Like, I'm going to be with you, whatever. And I said, thank you, darling. That's really lovely of you. And I want to be a mother. I want to be a mother. And I was just crying.
What?
And I remember I walked away from her space, and there was this beach. And I just danced, Kiko. I just danced and I danced and I
Oh my
danced
God.
and I
I just
danced.
getting a
And
goosebumps all over.
and after I finished dancing, I remember just this clarity that all was going to be okay. That no matter what I was told, part of my calling here was to be a mother in this way. There are many, I believe there's so many ways to mother in this world. But I thought this is the way that my soul has chose. It will be fine. And we didn't start trying then because I still wasn't ready. I was like, I'm not ready. I don't care if I'm 40 or 4, I don't care. And I was already raw by now. And 2 years later, when I was ready, within 1 month of trying, I was pregnant. I had the most easeful, natural, beautiful pregnancy, no pregnancy symptoms. We can talk about that, what that means.
Wow.
And we gave birth. I say we because my husband that was there, I was there, and our child was there, and that was the only three people who were
Wow.
there, apart from divine spirit. So it was a free birth, and it was ecstatic and beautiful. And I definitely credit a big part of that to my lifestyle, the raw vegan
That's
lifestyle.
amazing. Okay, so how old are you now?
I'm 40, check, 48.
48
48.
years old. Okay. And then you gave a birth at 42, right? And now
Hmm.
your son is 6. That is unheard of. Like that, giving a birth
Yeah.
on like early 20s could be easy, but first child on early 40s, that's unheard of. Congratulations.
Well, again, I really account, and I don't want to put so much on the food because it's not just
Mm-hmm.
about the food. That's why I say lifestyle, because it is also, it's definitely about nourishing my body, right, with what I believe is our species specific diet
Mm-hmm.
and living. That made it so easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also say that I've done long-term breastfeeding, never had an issue with breast milk production
How
ever.
how long did
Years.
you?
I'm still breastfeeding.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I think that's what I heard like long time ago. That's they will just keep on um
Yeah,
feeding
yeah.
until your baby don't want
Until
it.
right, and he will, and at some point, it's already, it's nothing like what it was in the beginning. If you let it happen naturally, what he was doing in the beginning is like now it's like once in a while, if he's just wanting a little extra, very nothing like that,
Wow.
but he still wants it, and at some point he's not going to, or I will be like, we're done. I believe it's, some people think it should be just entirely the child. I believe it's child and mother who make that decision together, and both of us are still very fine with it and happy with it, and it's a beautiful relationship, it's a healthy relationship, he's thriving. And so I just say that to say is my body creates all what it needs easefully. 48, no perimenopausal symptoms, that is classic. And I really attribute this to the lifestyle of feeding my body what it truly desires and needs, and what I'm not giving it, which is processed junk. And I don't use that word lightly. And also, I believe animal products have so many issues that we can get into, hormonally
Mm.
and psychically, everything. And then with this comes the lifestyle of just being aligned with
Yes.
nature. I just came from the beach with my sweetheart and our son, and we were in the sea and swimming. And every day we are grounding. And this is part of that life. And that, I think, is what helped it be such an easeful pregnancy and birth. And yeah,
That is just so powerful. It's incredible.
thank you, Kiko.
Wow. Okay.
I haven't shared that in a while. It's nice to share with you. Thank you
It's
for.
it's just so much, like, I knew that you were intense person. Uh in a good
I'm a Scorpio. So,
You're Scorpio?
oh
I'm
yeah.
November 9th. You
I'm October 23rd. I'm an early Scorpio, but my son is also Scorpio. So he was a birthday present to
Oh
me.
my goodness, so we're the scope three Scorpios, and we are intense people for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh
Oh
my God,
yeah.
that's so exciting. There's so many things that I want to go into, but let me see. So you have, okay, so now you have been moving, your base is in Canary Islands, but you do move
Yeah.
around, right? So for work, do you still see patients while you travel, or?
Yeah. So let me explain my work. So as a physician and as a professional dancer, what has come to be from that is that I see patients and clients online through consultation sessions. And I've done that, I think, more than almost 15 years now. Before that, I was working in hospitals as a hospital, all of that. I left all that behind. So I see people
Since
online
when
in
you've been doing
consultation,
online?
15 years now
You've been
plus.
doing 15 years online? What? You, usually a lot of
Yeah.
people go after COVID.
No, I was doing it way before COVID. Oh yeah.
Wow,
Oh yeah.
okay, amazing.
Yeah. Because by then I was already traveling a lot. I was already a nomad, and that I've realized that was a really good way. And also because a heart of the work I do is lifestyle medicine. I refuse to, I don't prescribe medications. I help people get off their medications, but I'm prescribing food and mindset and self love and all of these things in a very individualized way. And I'm going through people's blood work because people don't understand blood work at
Right.
all.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
And
So what you are doing, is it covered by insurance, or you, okay, so
no,
it's private consultation. That's, I mean, so you can
mhm.
I mean, you, it could be anyone in the world speaking English, or you speak French as well?
I speak French and Spanish, so I have French, Spanish, and
Okay,
English
so anyone
clients.
speaking of can speak French, Spanish, English can reach you out
Yes,
and read, because there are
yes,
some certain things you need a physician to read. Yeah, the results.
yeah, yes, exactly. I think it's so empowering to be able to go through that with somebody who knows, understands it, and then can tell you in the future what to ask for or what it means and how to then, get the underlying reason for your issue and then heal it in a natural way, but use the blood work in a really empowering way to get to the
That's, oh my
diagnosis.
God, yeah, I am so grateful you are doing what you are doing. It's just, I think a lot of people are having a hard time grasping, like, this one. Tumi is doing so many things: professional performer, dancer, and physician,
Yeah,
right? On online, meeting, doing private consultation, mother, and it's just so much that you're doing. But there are not too many raw vegan doctors, right? Like, for example, for
yeah,
me, being, you know just vegan doctors are very rare here in Japan. And it took such a long period of long time for me to find a doctor that I can trust, because I had a period, like, that my iron level was very low, and they would just recommend eating meat, or
yeah.
red meat. And yeah, so I'm just really grateful that you make yourself available to who needs your help in this path and journey.
I will say so two things about that. I actually have a video on my YouTube channel about how I healed anemia because before I actually went raw, I was anemic. I was pescatarian for the longest time and thinking I was healthy, and I was anemic, and it got pretty bad. And Kiko, it wasn't until I actually went raw, and I also think it's a certain way of being raw that my anemia has gone and never come back. And I will actually be posting very soon my raw vegan blood test results after 15 years being raw, and it's it's perfect, perfect, you know. So the anemia thing, that's a common thing that I help people with. I do want to say that it's not always easy to work with me one on one because you said, oh, you're doing all these things. I'll also share with you, I work about 22 hours maximum a week. I do not overwork. I have
So
left in my
important.
book Delicious. So for me, it's so important. If you want to work 60 hours and 80 hours, bless you. Not, I do not have any desire to have that lifestyle. I used to work 120 hours a week as a resident and as a hospitalist and as a professional dancer, not interested for a company. Now I work about 22 hours a week on average, and I'm so much happier. I can help with homeschooling my child.
Wow,
I can, I,
you help your son for homeschooling on top of that?
Yeah. But again, if I'm only working 20 hours a week, it's not hard. And as an aside, homeschooling, it's a whole other conversation. But basically, your child is learning all the time. And all we need to do as parents a lot of time is to give them the tools and the support for them to see, like, the whole world is a playground of learning if a child is excited. And so it doesn't have to look like them sitting for hours. And now he goes through workbooks and he's so quick because he's so excited about it.
Mm,
But I see all that to say it's not always, I don't work with everybody because I don't have the ability to work with everybody because of my time.
mm,
I won't see everybody all the time. And I'm also now I've been doing this for a while, but creating dances that are healing dances. And I make them for my patients that I see. So if you go on my Instagram, you'll see some pinned posts of people I work with. And when I work with you, I'm looking at your blood work. We're getting to the underlying reason for why you have what you have, and not just the physical reason, but the emotional, the mental, because that's so important also. And then crafting a natural approach. But I also will create a dance for you. That's part of what I do
wow.
now. And because art I think you will understand this, have a feeling. Art, I think, gets to your heart in a way that just knowing science facts never can. And so people who tend to be attracted to me, I'm not for everyone, are people who are really wanting a clear diagnosis. They want a natural approach, usually a plant based approach. And they also are turned on in some way by the arts and a lot of times by my dancing. And I will create an entire dance. You don't need to dance, you just take in the dance as medicine. And I've had people who have come off 4 blood pressure medications. Another woman who healed her congestive heart failure. She was told her heart was not working, and by the time we're done, her heart had a normal ejection fraction. Overweight issues, all of this, and a big part of that was the dance because it got to the emotional reasons for why they were having these issues. So I create dances also, and I create dances now for art spaces. And so I'm doing these things, and they just feel. That's the other thing about raw veganism that I think you get, because I know you're this beautiful chef. You just get really, I think, so much more clear about purpose.
Mm,
And it's almost like for me that I've been called to do this thing to help with the upliftment of the world. And only I can do it. Like only you can do
mm.
that. And there's something for me about this lifestyle that you can't not do that. So it doesn't feel like work for me. It just feels like a transmission.
Wow. So you do the choreographer
Yes,
for the
yes,
dance for the specific person, specific symptom,
yes,
to let that
absolutely.
kind of toxin out. But you said that
You got
they don't have to dance.
it. Mm. There's something called mirror neurons that we have in our frontal brain. If people, a lot of times I've performed in many places live as part of a company and also now for myself. I was in New York last fall and I had 4 dance performances. And I remember the first one, somebody was like, oh God, I was so scared you were going to make me dance. And you never have to. If you want to dance, you can dance, and I invite you to, but you never have to because the mirror neurons, if you go watch a dance and you're watching a dancer, you're watching me move, you're watching me do this. When you see me do this, the part of your brain that would tell you to do this lights up.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
just loving it.
Yeah. They studied these. They studied this. And so they're called mirror neurons. So whenever you see a performer move, you basically are moving. And so now imagine that performer is a physician who understands your issue that you're wanting to heal. And maybe I do a movement like that to help heal your heart chakra, right?
Wow.
Maybe I do a certain other movement or a movement sequence to help with healing of your kidneys or release a trauma. You are doing the exact same thing as you watch me.
Okay, so you dance for this person and you just let this person watch, and if they want to dance, that's I mean, yeah, you are definitely living your life purpose. I mean, how can you not,
Mhm.
right? How can you not do what you are doing? You're meant to do this.
Thank you.
That's
And they get the dance. The dance, I want to say that also. For me, it's also important people feel safe when they take in their medicine. Sometimes people go to hospitals and clinics and are given all sorts of things, and you're like, you get to dose it. So I create the dance and it's sent to them, and they watch it in the safety and the quiet of their own space, and they get to dose it as many times as they want. It's a lifelong. A patient of mine said, this feels like a lifelong companion, what you gave me.
wow.
And so give it. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. I don't want to make it to, this YouTube is for people who needs the help and, be want to be inspired for raw vegan
Yes.
lifestyle. But, I might have to hire you because, I have been on this raw vegan journey and I wrote it. I talk about it quite openly that I've been battling with adenomyosis. And
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
and
realize.
I actually almost died 2 years ago out of because I lost so much blood and I didn't want it to get
Yeah,
any help. So I was just
yeah.
resisting. Now I'm on the hormonal therapy, which is I use the
Okay.
antagonist,
Yes,
and
yeah.
now it was mimicking menopause. I'm
Mhm.
51, so I'm hoping that I go menopause, but gynecologist just told me that I'm not yet there. I'm not menopausing yet.
Yes.
So now thinking, do I have to go back to the hormonal pill or not? Um, yeah.
Reach out to me. Let's talk a little
Yes,
bit more. But that's exactly what I help women
that's
with. And my before I left Manhattan, I was running a women's health clinic through NYU. So women's health
uh,
is something I was doing even before I went raw. And then when I went raw, it's been so joyful.
mm.
I work with men, people who identify as men and women, but there's something about for me women because we are told so many lies about our well-being and our cycles, not just menstrual cycle, but the cycle of our whole lives. And they're so disempowering, these stories. And so it's such a joy to support women in really stepping into our power. And there's so much beautiful power
Mm.
in that movement from premenopause, perimenopause into queendom, I call it.
Queendom, I love it.
That's what it is.
That's so beautiful. Okay, so now when you shifted your, it was back in 2011 that you have shifted your um, diet, right?
Yeah,
How did it change? Like how with your family, your friends, partners?
great question. So I went to Woodstock, and I went to Woodstock as a pescatarian, but very now by this time curious about raw. And by the time I left Woodstock at the end of 1 week, I was raw vegan, and I'd been raw vegan all week, fruit based raw vegan, and that lasted 2 days. The reason it lasted 2 days, and it was so clear, never going back. I had a partner at the time, a lovely man. He was a drummer. I was in love. We were very much in love. And every day he would start his day with a joint and end his day with a glass of wine or beer. My point is the vibrational frequency, not to get too woo woo, of him was very different from the vibrational frequency of raw veganism. And he beautiful soul. But I remember I got off the bus from Woodstock, and he looked at me and he says, "Why are your eyes so bright?"
Yeah, that's what happens, raw vegans.
That's what happens. And I had not accounted for what this diet meant, this lifestyle meant for my relationships. And so within 2 days, I was like, there's no way I can keep this relationship and do this way. And so I never went back to, I was vegan. I've been vegan since. I never went, but I started eating cooked, and immediately my vibration just dropped to his level. But it was already done, meaning that I already knew how good I could feel. And so every time I was with him, I remember thinking, I'm compromising my well-being just to fit to this, and it's not going to work.
Hmm.
And it didn't. Within 5 months, within a few months, we ended it. And and so I want to give that story because I think so many people struggle with this thing.
Hmm.
And what I have found, Kiko, through the years is that the best way that I can love the people that I love is by being the brightest light I can be.
Hmm.
And the thing that helps me be the brightest light that I can be is, for me, this adhering to this lifestyle, this very clear
Hmm.
way of eating. So for me, it's such a joy. For me, I feel my healthiest, my happiest. I get to unleash my potential.
Hmm.
And that's why I have the energy for being the mama that I am, that I want to be, for dancing, for being with my beloved, because it's just, everything is synergistic. There's so many, my life is complete synchronicities all the time, all the time. And so my husband, bless him, he is high raw. We actually met at a fruit
Oh my
festival in
God,
Thailand
the
11
perfect
years ago.
story. Perfect story.
Right? Right? And so he's vegan, and he eats basically fruit all day, but in the evening he will eat a cooked vegan meal. And I don't eat that, but there's been never a problem because I'm always so clear that what works best for me is what's going to work best for our relationship, in the sense that I let him be him.
Hmm.
And I do me, and I do what is going to make me be my healthiest, my happiest, and my most loving, and not resent him
Hmm.
by eating the way he eats and then feeling not good, which I've seen. I've worked with so many people, and that happens so many times. They wanted to keep the peace. So they eat like their partner, or what they take
Hmm.
what grandma,
Yeah.
their auntie gives them, then they feel bad, then they're on the medication, and they're low key resenting that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I navigate it, if that makes sense. I hope that that.
It does. That's incredible. So now you're fully raw, fruit based.
Uh huh. 100%.
For
Yeah.
how long? Fully raw? So 2011, you became vegan.
2011, yeah, I became vegan, and I was still high raw. Like, again, that relationship, I was still
Mm,
struggling, but I was, even from the moment I went raw vegan, I was like 90%.
mm,
Within a few weeks, I would try again with that guy. And so the first year was the hardest in
mm,
terms of the percent raw, but I knew that raw was right for me, very clear. And then I would say over these past 15 years, I've had I've experimented with cook to see, oh, maybe I'll just be high raw and that's
Mm,
fine because I don't like the labels for I'm not.
mm,
And so I said, let me try cooked. And every time I tried cooked, it didn't work for me. I think it worked for other people. It works great for my husband, not for
mm,
me. So now it's very clear. And so I've just stuck with all raw. And what I found that helped me personally stick with all raw was being low fat.
mm,
I found that when I was high fat raw, I actually had more cooked food cravings. And this ties into emotions.
mm,
I think I use fats as a way to, I'm a very highly sensitive human. I used to use fats as a way to deal and numb from emotions, from very strong emotions. And until I was able to really face, process, know how to do that, which is now a joy to do that every day. Emotion processing, release, food now is my fuel. It's delicious, beautiful fuel, but it's fuel. I don't ever use it as a therapist or as a way to bond with people. I don't use it as a numbing agent because I do not want to numb anymore.
You know, you make it so simple when you said that, but what you just said, it's very, very difficult to achieve. Never use food as for bonding. Never use food to numb our feeling. I mean, that's what everyone does.
I love that you pointed that out because it took me years. But I will share with you that once I realized I was doing that, and once I realized I didn't want to do that, it made the process much easier because then it was just like, okay, what do I need to, what tools do I need to learn? Because the underlying thing is you're not facing your emotions. You're not accepting the emotions and you're not processing emotions. And once you decide you want to start doing that and you don't want to use food to numb, there are so many tools out there. And I do that with patients all the time also. It's such an important superpower, and we all have the ability to have it.
I truly believe that. That's
Yeah.
incredible. So now you're living in Canary Islands, and is there any a reason why you're living there?
My husband and I traveled a lot, figuring out that we wanted to have a home base, especially because we have a child. You know, children, I think there's something really nice about a stable space, you know. And so we traveled we went to the Philippines, Costa Rica, where would be a great place for us to just be home. And you know, Africa is very, of course, my origin place. My husband is from Slovenia. Canary Islands is like, it's kind of right, it's like in terms of distance, and it's beautiful and subtropical, and it's easy for us to travel to Europe, to Africa, to America. So we chose because of that. Now we have fruit tree. Nothing is fruiting yet, but we have fruit trees and a garden and things we plant there at our home. And then, but 5 months out of the year, or even 6 months out of the year, we're traveling. So it's our base, but not where we are all the time.
So you have your own home in Canary Island that
Yeah.
you're out of for
Yes.
wow. And you come to Asia most of the time?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
We love Asia. You know, Asia is where we fell in love. And then years later, Asia is where we actually made our child. And Asia is, yeah, it's just has had, we didn't mean for that to happen, but it's a soft spot in
That's
our hearts
amazing.
because of,
You gave a birth in foreign country?
no, I didn't give birth. We made our child. We
Oh, okay.
conceived him here.
Okay, let's be clear. So your baby is a little bit Asian.
Exactly. He has a t-shirt that says made in Thailand.
That was in Thailand. So, oh my God. That's great. And then you gave a birth in back in Canary Island?
Yes.
Wow. That is just so beautiful.
Thank you, Kiko. Yeah.
I'm just speechless. Like your each, every word that you share is just very powerful, so meaningful, very clear. Your message
Mm.
is very clear and strong.
Thank you.
Mm.
Well, I there's something I feel like I mentioned the home that we have. That was also that we manifested that. We didn't when we first met each other, we were financially we'd had very little. Um, but we I always had this dream. Back when I was living in New York City in the freezing winter, I was like, I want to be somewhere where I can have a garden outside, not just my little tomato plant in the windowsill and have a beloved who loves me. Like I was single. I'd broken up with that boyfriend of mine. I'm saying this to say for anyone who's just like, oh, this is a crazy dream. I was that young woman who was, all my other friends were married or having children, and I was single again. And I was in this New York City apartment and I was overworking and I was thinking to myself, but this is not what I really want. And when I asked my heart, what is your true desire? I saw the fruit trees. I saw a man who was kind and who wanted my wings to open and wanted to, and who would celebrate my power as opposed to trying to crush it down, and who himself was healthy. And
Wow.
it starts with just that dream. It starts with acknowledging what's in your heart and not hiding it and not thinking to yourself, this is too crazy, because now it's here.
Mm.
But I wanted to share that with
Wow.
anyone who.
That- yeah, it's very important, this message that you have shared. And I'm thinking Médecins Sans Frontières, that's that's a that's a very intense work. And
Yes.
I just wonder if you dealt with trauma after.
Hmm. I had trauma, but to be honest with you, I didn't have trauma from that
Oh,
experience. Um, I had trauma from being um, from being in America.
uh-huh.
It might be a little controversial, what I'm saying, but Médecins Sans Frontières was in Africa. It was in the bush in Africa, and yeah, there was some um, warring among different tribes in the north. But where I was, it was desert and abject poverty, and I didn't feel unsafe. I didn't feel unsafe where I was. I have felt unsafe in America. I have felt unsafe in other parts of the world,
Mm.
and there's still, sadly, a lot of racism, a lot of misogyny and
I
sexism
feel like it's getting
in
worse
part.
in the States.
I think that the wound of America is being opened up,
Mm.
and so people are having to finally look at it. And sometimes that's what needs to happen. You finally look at it and it's messy and it's ugly, but it needs to be looked at. And I will share with you, as a Black woman, I had no desire, as a Black woman physician, I knew that the statistics of Black women trying to birth in America and what happens with them. I had no plan of having my child in America. And so I say that to say, because I think it was such a wonderful question you have, is that people are dealing with trauma in first world countries all the time, right now, as you and I are speaking.
Oh.
And um, we don't look at it, or we think that it's
Mm.
oh, that's okay. Like, that's okay. How do I say this? It's not okay that he spoke to me that way. All these little microaggressions. And I think you were maybe in the corporate world in New York, having been in, high end and high standing things in big cities in America. There are a lot of micro and not microaggressions towards people of color, towards women, um, towards BIPOC, as they say. And I feel like that's trauma that's not being recognized.
Wow. It's again, you're very yeah, precise, concise, and the message is so important. I'm glad that you mentioned, because yeah, that trauma um happening in first, developed country. like people don't think
Yes.
about. For example,
Yep.
when I was living in New York, it was a good time. It was clean, and it was. I mean, I would take a metro at three in the morning all by myself, and it was
So
it
good.
was a good time. Like 2005, it was, the metro was clean. It was a Mia Giuliani time. So, but
Yeah.
when I was living in Paris for who would have thought, the Paris, for 4 years I never felt comfortable, and I'm the kind of person who travels everywhere by myself. But that,
Yes.
yeah, that's the feeling that, I yeah, I think I was tense all those 4 years, even though it's such an amazing city. That's where my husband is
Yes.
from. And now,
I'm because I lived in Paris too, and I didn't know. It's like
so much
we were clearly meant to meet. So it's like amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, that tension you talk about, like, so think about holding that tension in your body all the time.
Mm,
Like what it does for your
mm,
hormones. It's and people don't think about that as trauma, and it is. And we look at things like war, and look, war is there are no words for the
mm.
cruelty of war that still is happening as we speak. And there's also trauma happening all the time to people that they're not even realizing,
Mm.
not
Yeah,
facing.
being raw vegan, you might have had a different experience, but we are so discredited because there are no, here in Japan at least, there are no vegan doctors to begin with. Raw vegan, they just think I'm doing something crazy, so they would not
Mm.
support. And to have someone who has done the study and also done residential work, and 15 years on online coaching as a physician, medical doctor, that's a huge thing that we definitely need someone like you and more of you, because we're just being discredited because we just don't have the role model, right? Not too many people who can, who is in the medical field. Not much research done either.
Yeah, it's so ironic because um, they can make raw vegan so complicated. It's one of the reasons I actually took off the label raw vegan from my Instagram. I had it on for years.
Ah,
Feel I felt like there were a lot of reasons I took it off, but one of the reasons was people are just like, oh God, that's just it's too fringe or it's too complicated. And Kiko, my life is so simple. It's like it's the most. I mean, I spend no time in the kitchen. I spend no
you
time
just
in the
eat
kitchen.
fruits, so okay.
I just see, I literally, and look, if you want it to be complicated, beautiful, you can do. And I was in Ubud and I went to Seeds of Life, and years ago I interviewed this beautiful
Yes,
Japanese raw vegan
sayuri.
Sayuri. I went to Sayuri's cafe. Sayuri is beautiful, and she pours so much love. Look, you can do raw vegan as complicated as you want to, but you don't have to. Like it can be the simplest thing. And my way and everyone's way is different, but my way is so simple. So I was also just kind of like, I don't want people to think this is complicated because it's
Ah,
so
interesting.
easy. It's so
Okay, so
easy.
take us to how your days start, like what you eat throughout the day. Do you check on your nutrition, what you eat? Do you do chronometer? You know, like,
Yeah. So I will say this is a caveat because I made a video also on my YouTube channel a few years ago saying why what I eat in a day does not
mm,
matter. Because I think so many people will see what you eat, what I eat, like, okay, I'm going to start eating like that without, again,
mm,
thinking about where they are in their own journey, how long they've
mm,
been raw, what their own issues are, also emotional, right? So
mm,
honoring the entire body the way I eat now is not how I was eating 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. I remember going to Paris, um, and this is after I was living in Paris and I went back to Paris raw. And when I was raw in Paris, I went to like 42 degrés. Have you been there?
which one?
40 42.
Happened.
It's at 42 degrees. It's
Oh
a
yes, of
raw,
course.
it's
I
like,
have. Yeah. Mhm.
so I went there. I went to all these little raw places to try, and I loved it. And it was perfect for me at that time. Now I go to Paris and I go straight to the farmer's market, or I go to and I get fruits and I just eat the
Mm,
fruits. So it's about I think honoring where you
mm,
are and what works for you. What it looks like for me now, I wake up whenever I wake up. I haven't used alarms in years. And sometimes that's as early as 6:30, sometimes it's 7:30, just depends on the night,
mhm,
I had. But I sleep about a lot of raw vegans are like, "Oh, I only need 4 hours of sleep." I like to give myself at least 8 hours of sleep.
at
And
least
sometimes I'll
8
just
hours.
lie, and many times I'll wake up before that and I'll just lie and meditate because I just think it's so, for me, maybe it's also as a breastfeeding mama, it's so good to just rest.
Mm,
So I try to give myself 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Once I'm out of the bed, I don't eat usually until 12 or maybe 1.
mm. Just
Um,
water?
and yeah, like, yeah, and maybe it's a glass of water. It's not
Wow.
much because I don't eat any salt. I don't, there's no, I think that makes a big difference. If you're consuming salt, you're
Mm,
gonna need more water. I don't consume any salt. I consume a lot of minerals through my fruits and
mm,
but I don't eat, and I drink very little. If it's a really hot day, today was 36 degrees here or about, so I did drink a little bit more water. But during that time, I've done probably 2.5 hours of dance rehearsal. Um, Maybe I've done some strength training for cross training for my dance. So I've moved my body quite vigorously, and then I break my fast with breakfast with juicy fruit. Today we had dragon fruit on the
oh,
beach.
the one from Vietnam is
Oh,
amazing.
I mean, right,
Has
right.
nothing to do with what we get in the States and Japan, though.
No, 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 no. I don't even eat dragon fruits in the States. So, and I want to, so as we talk about this, I'm going to say what I would eat when I'm in the States. Because I was in the States recently performing for like, and then I actually did an apple mono island. I just did apples the whole time because apples were in season when I was there in the autumn, and they were so
Mm.
amazing. You could have all these different types of apples. I just ate apples. And that's what engined me to have these dance performances and
Wow.
just go, go, go. So thinking about what delicious fruit is seasonal where you are, if possible, I
Mm,
think that that's always
mm,
the best taste. So I eat dragons, and then I usually eat 2 meals a day. For dinner, I will have probably jackfruit.
mm.
Um, I eat 2 meals a day usually, and so I eat around 12 or 1, and then around 5,
And
5:30.
what
Um,
what do you how much calorie do you think that is about?
I have not counted calories in years, and
Probably less than 1,000 calorie.
no, it's more than 1,000 because jackfruit is pretty calorie
Okay.
dense, and I eat a like I wish I could have the dragon fruits I have are probably like this big, and I'll have 4 of them.
Ah, okay, yeah. Oh my God.
I eat a lot.
I'm
I eat a lot. I can eat a lot in one meal. So I'll eat about 4 of these size dragons, and
wow.
I'll have like a big amount of jackfruit. It's definitely more than 1,000. It's definitely less than 2,000. And again, this is somebody I'm dancing 2.5 hours at least every day. Um, and what happens, I want to say, if you're worried about calories, is that initially you might lose
Mm,
weight. But what happens with that is that your body then starts assimilating what it needs much, much better.
mm,
So there was a point when I was all raw and I stopped eating salt and I was just doing the fruits and greens when I want to, that I lost weight, but I wasn't worried about it. I knew exactly what was happening. My body was cleaning house. And I knew not to worry because I was still making breast milk easily. My periods were still clockwork. I was ovulating on time. I was really small bleeding, but bleeding, no pain. So my hormones were fine, and I was performing like I could just dance for hours. So
wow.
that's how you know. I'm not just wasting. It was not wasting away. It was my body cleaning house. And then I stabilized, and then my weight um, stabilized to a healthy weight for me. So people who get worried about the weight, what I say is if you're eating the right fuel, you never have to worry. That's it. You just don't have to
Well,
worry.
it's clearly
It,
working for you. Yeah. I mean, now you're, yeah, everything that you check off as coming from a Western medical doctor's background, and you're integrating with your inner self care as well with dance, right?
yeah,
So, and the
yeah.
diet also, all of that combined, you're, yeah, and I do agree that, if you don't necessarily have to go with the calorie check. I haven't done it for a long period of time, but I also combine with Western medicine, like, I go check my blood, and if something is missing, then I'm okay. I'm fine. I really appreciate that I can, you know take pills to help for this short period of time that I am figuring it out myself. And I think it's one of the trap that I was, I, of course, I wish that I would have, that I just go raw vegan, eat whatever I want, however I feel with that seasonal fruits and vegetable. But my story was not that. And, after just 2 years ago, I ended up just pushing myself, thinking that
Mm,
it would just heal on its own. And I do think, checking, once a year on blood tests, I believe that's so important, because I did not do it for such a long period of time. And
mhm,
I
mhm.
think it's because also being raw vegan, we are so, you, s- especially in the beginning, you kind of isolate from who you used to hang out with, because the energy level is completely different, right? And people kind of make fun of you, that, they think they're, some people are just very worried about your health because they've never heard of such diet. So,
It's true. How do you now? How, are you able to share? I'm curious. Like, how did you navigate that? The because I think the social thing is something that doesn't get talked about enough. I think it gets glossed over. It's like people talk about beautiful testimonials of how I, but then it's so funny how many people have a hard time sticking to it. And I think a big part of that is because we are tribal.
mm,
We are social beings. So I think whenever we can speak on how we navigate socially, I think it could be really helpful. And I'm curious to know how you've navigated socially with
yeah,
this.
people used to call me, I'm a pure social butterfly. I used to be extrovert. Now to, staying this lifestyle, raw vegan lifestyle is just really amazing that, and if I do try to socialize with, people who eats the standard food, in developed countries, I would I would very easily be swayed by their eating style. So I just
Mm,
stopped, going out for the sake of eating out at the restaurant. I have my pop-up cafe once a week, and
so
yes, and people come, and it's, I do everything by myself. I love decorating my meals with flowers and herbs from my garden. I love pouring love into my plate. And most people don't have no idea about raw vegan. And they just come. Some people just pass by, and they say, "Wow, I feel full and satisfied. I thought I was just gonna
mm,
have, light meal, but I feel full. I don't need to have dinner." And they always report back to me saying that, "Oh my God, I had such a clean digestive, like it just went very easily." So yeah, it's only usually one or two people who come to my cafe, and it's definitely not for profit, but that's helping me. So once a week pop-up cafe in downtown Kyoto, and also this online community. I was very much focused on face to face. I like, hugging people, touching people, feeling people, but why I get blocked and stuck with just people around me, right? Like, thanks to this internet, I can connect with you, and
Yeah.
Sky, who introduced me to you. So that online community has helped so much because
Mhm.
it's so important. Like for me, that was probably I had some food addiction, eating disorder background, but the most difficult part was the social part for me.
I think it's such a crucial part of it. I'm so glad you talked about community, and I can't wait to see your pop-up cafe
Yay.
in
Yeah.
Kyoto. I'm excited to
And
check
how
out.
about you? Do you have like your raw vegan community, or how do you navigate?
Great question. I'm a pretty big introvert, to be honest, and but it doesn't mean introvert doesn't mean you do not need social. Let me be very clear. It's different. I think that um, I think I'm kind of a little bit, I have my beloved, and so I get a lot of touch and all of that, and also for my child, a lot of that. And then I have dear friends who I've connected with through the years, but who are not on this lifestyle, and we connect in other ways. But there is definitely like that kind of always been kind of like, well, where are my sisters in this kind of? I was looking for other women who are in this lifestyle, and it was so beautiful. A couple years ago, I just was very clear that I really wanted to call in more women friends who are in this lifestyle, and it's just now I have them. It's online, connecting with them.
Mm,
And so that has happened. There was something I wanted to share about this, but it's escaping me now. Yeah, I think I've called it in. And I think, again, being clear about I want this and not apologizing for it or not thinking
yeah,
something's wrong with you for wanting
yeah.
it. It's nourishment.
Mm,
I'll get off a call with someone like you. I feel nourished. I can say
mm,
right now.
thank-
So, spending time with you and talking to another friend, a sister who's also on this lifestyle, and I feel nourished. And I think that that is part of the food we are looking
mm.
for when we are like trying to fill ourselves with all these things, is we're looking for that kind of deep connection.
Yes, so important. I think I have become introvert over the years, and I'm just
Mhm.
happy with my husband. My husband is high raw. He becomes a lot more close to fully raw during the summertime, and he supports me. He
Mhm.
wants me to be, well all the time. So he supports my lifestyle. And, I want to share also the message. Carl has left a message, beautiful message, love your perspective. And, Carl has been, we've been connecting also when I was on live with other ladies. And these people who just leaving a message, it's part of my journey. Like I have never met them, but it helps me that I'm not alone. It's
Yes.
and I think there are a point that I thought, oh, I can do it alone, it's okay. But I realized that in this journey it's so important to find someone who can relate and connect. And it could be just, YouTube, who are doing similar diet. I used to do just, reading a book, Dog Graham, 80-10-10, and there are so many raw vegan books that I read, and they were my best friends at that time.
I love that that's the thing I was trying to remember. And that's what I was going to say is, before I called in these sister friends, one of the ways that I would stay feeling uplifted was watching videos like yours. I remember seeing you interview Mana, the
Japanese model?
yes, and she was talking about Anthony Robbins and talking about medical medium, and it's just and the two of you, your energy together, and it was like I wasn't in the conversation, but I felt so. How do I explain? I felt so. I didn't feel crazy because I was like, these are two women who would understand me. Like I knew,
Mm,
and so I just say that to people also who maybe don't yet have people they know online or offline who are on this path, watching people that they just resonate with
mm,
on YouTube And I think your channel is beautiful,
Mm.
Kiko, and what you put out there. And we all have different things we bring to the table, and just find who do you feel resonant with, and that can feel connecting in
It's
some
so
way.
true. And I love this internet age that before when I started in 2005 or 2004, it was just usually was just one way, and they were saying, oh, with being raw vegan, you can only sleep, yeah, you only need 3 to 4 hours. And I believe that, and I was doing it. I did feel good for a short period of time, and then I realized that
Yeah,
was not a good idea for long term. And now what I see is the raw vegans in so many forms. I mean, Tumi is a physician, and professional performer, and studied the internal medicine and doing the coaching, and nomad, right? Practically nomad. You have a home, but half of the year you're not at home.
yeah,
It's it's
yeah.
beautiful. I want to be
Thank
mindful that, yeah, it's been a little over 1 hour. And is there any other message that you would like to share with the viewer?
I think one thing that can sometimes get overwhelming in this journey is trying to because it could be so exciting to learn about this, and then you're like, oh, I want to learn everything about it. And the internet age is beautiful, but the shadow side of it is that it can be very overwhelming
Mm.
because there's so many voices. And when you are listening to so many voices, yours can get drowned out. And one thing I think I would love to just share and make sure I share here is that your voice is the most important voice, always. That you have an inner wisdom and an inner compass.
Mm.
And it's so important to keep returning time and time again, to take what you resonates, but then keep returning. And whatever practice you have of silencing the noise for a little bit every day, I think is so important for your mental, physical, and emotional and soul well-being.
And this is actually very compassionate and loving for people. It's not egoistic message.
Absolutely. It's ultimate self-love,
Hmm.
you know.
Wow, that's a beautiful message.
Mm.
Thank you to me. Thank you so much. We have so much in common, and this video was an amazing. I have had so many goosebumps. And I guess if anyone who's watching and you're lucky enough to get Tumi's spot to get the private coaching, try reaching out. You can contact her. What's the best place to reach you out?
Yeah, great question. So you can reach me email at tumi, Tumi dot
Mm.
Johnson, Johnsson at gmail.com. On Instagram and YouTube, I'm on both sites at the poem dances, all one word, the poem dances. And I will share with you that even if I don't have spots, and it is hard to get spots for one-on-one with me, I have a beautiful online
Mm.
program where you could join, and it's less than $2 a day. And I'm still coaching you. It's more of a group setting, but I answer your questions, your health questions, and there is a plethora there. It's like a treasure trove of health courses, detoxes, questions with me, yoga from me, guided
Mm.
meditations. And so it's called Your Delicious Life. And actually, um, I open enrollment for people to join in, and then it's going to close probably around May 1st. And you won't be able to come into the program again for till the end of the year. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And you can find that through my website, drtumijohnson.com. And yes, through the link tree. You can see right here, Your Delicious Life right there. Yeah, Kiko, thank you.
Sure.
Um, so check that out, because that's a way of working with me without having to invest as much for one-on-one, but you will I will be with you. I will be guiding you. We meet every month for a workshop with me. I answer your questions every single month, your questions. So it's a way of working with me and feeling your most incredible and unleashing your potential. That's why I call it your delicious life. It's not just about, I want to heal this issue. Yeah, we'll heal it. But also, what is the life that you're really wanting to live? That's what it's about.
Yeah, I love this title of um, delicious healing. Oh my God, that's such a good catch copy.
Thank
That's
you. Yeah.
love it, love it, love it.
Healing is another. I'll just share that healing, the word healing comes from the word whole.
Okay.
Same, same word root, whole, that we are whole beings. And to
Mm.
me, it's not just about, again, getting rid of a disease. It's about
Yes.
embodying
Mm,
our wholeness.
mm.
And that is
That
delicious. That
is
should be
delicious.
delicious,
Yes,
right?
that is
Right.
delicious. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I feel so honored and I'm so happy for the viewers that I was able to, share this, my channel to share the wisdom of Tumi. And I'm sure you get inspired. Follow her on Instagram and you can check out on the her website as she mentioned. I can't wait. I'm gonna dig into your information more. So thank you to me for spending time with me, sharing your knowledge. Out of all the intense work you have on your plate already. So thank you.
Kiko, thank you. I received that. I'm going to take a moment just to receive that. And I want to take a moment and say thank you for the work you do in the world. The pop up cafe, Namado, that you've put out in the world, which I'm really enjoying.
Oh,
I'm in the beginning of it. I'm really enjoying it.
thank you.
And more than that, also your presence online. And I say that it's not just the work, it's presence. And your energy for me, I always resonated with. It feels like one of strength and gentleness.
Mhm.
And I think it's a beautiful combination, and authenticity,
Mm.
and your willingness to share your own story is a light in the world. So thank you for having me and for sharing time with me. And I look forward to sharing more time in the future and visiting
Yeah,
you in Japan at
same
some
here.
point.
Oh my God, goosebumps all over again. I hope everyone enjoyed this interview,
Yes.
and thank you so much for all your lovely message. I think I had some lovely message on Instagram as well. But thank you, everyone. And to me, have a great evening, and maybe I can visit you in Asia as well.
Yes. Yeah. Or Canary
Yeah.
Islands. Open door. Much love. Bye bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.